Sandwich party.
Is it a party?
Well, it's going to be something.
Woo woo! Woo.
It's going to be a party in my mouth.
It's always a party every Tuesday.
That's right.
If y'all can see us and hear us okay, just please let us know.
Say hello. Tell us you're here. Tell us you can hear us.
Tell us where you're watching from.
All of these things.
Y'all got questions? Type them down below. We'll see if we can get Chris to answer them.
Absolutely.
Like, share, thumbs up.
Yep. All of the fun.
All the things.
All of the things.
What are we making here, Chef? What's happening?
What are we making?
Yeah.
We are making Carnivore white bread, which has just come out a few days ago, and we have a whole bunch of different things we're going to do with some sandwiches, and we're going to talk about some tips on that white bread because that's a really big recipe right now. That's over 52,000 views just in like the last 3 days. So that's a huge recipe. Lots of people are watching, and I've had a lot of pictures and messages and comments and all of this stuff from people that are making it and loving it. I've also had a few questions from some people and some people who struggled with it the first time, which, you know, these egg white breads, sometimes they can take a little practice. So I thought we could talk about the egg white bread, talk about some sandwiches we could do with it. I'll show you guys grilling it up a little bit here, and maybe you guys can give us some ideas of what kinds of sandwiches you would like. And then if you have questions about the white bread, you can ask us. And if anyone here has made the white bread, please put it in the comments. Let us know you've made it, what you think. And if you've made it and you have any issues, then tell us what your issue was so that I can help diagnose what went wrong so we can fix it and get it absolutely perfect and right for you on the next try. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Great. Nurse222 says, hello all. Love Chris and Ash. Love watching your show. You both teach me so much about the carnivore lifestyle. 130 pounds down. Thank you.
Yes. Rock on. She's lost the same amount I have.
Let's give Nurse222 some rock-ons in the comments.
Go for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Congrats, Nurse222. Rock on to you. That's amazing. I'm so glad you're here.
We got Mr. Randy Canoy.
Hey, there he is. Randy, brother, we love you, man.
Yeah. He says, good evening, Chris, Ash, and Mel. And then he says that Riley is at the groomers.
Oh, okay. So Riley's having a spa day.
A spa day. We got to love it. Janice is here, says, howdy, folks.
Hello, Janice.
We got Lynn, 22Q Cat.
There's Lynn. Hello.
She says, yay, Tuesday evening with Chris, Ash, Mel, and everyone here.
Yes.
We got Tammy E. says, good evening, all.
Hello, Tammy.
Let's see here. Extra FR says, best YouTuber. I would agree.
I don't know about that now. I'm just doing the best I can, but I appreciate that.
I think you're pretty great.
I appreciate that. Well, you married me. You have to say that.
Well, yeah, we're married. I mean, I could not say it.
It's true.
Your parents are watching.
Hello, Mom and Dad. They must be fighting up that rough weather that they're potentially having up there. They weren't sure if they'd be able to tune in tonight because of the rough weather that Indiana's getting tonight. So, so we'll hopefully they'll not lose power and disappear.
Yeah, we got Mr. Barry Weems in the house.
Hey, Barry.
Says hello. Kathy Roberts says hello. Thank you for all your creative recipes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Keto Simple's here.
Hey, there's Victor. If anybody hasn't seen, Victor and I did this bread recipe. So he has a version of a bread that he did, and then I did my bread, but we did them as hoagie style buns, and then he did a keto version and I did a carnivore version of Philly cheesesteaks over on Southern Keto. And I know that video is doing super well also, but if you haven't seen it, go over there and check it out because I did modify this recipe a little bit to make it work as the hoagie style bun because it cooks a little bit differently. So it's a slight modification, and the only place you get to see that one is to go over to Southern Keto and subscribe while you're there and then watch that cheesesteak video that Victor and I did.
Yeah. We also have Keto Simple in the house.
Oh, there's Dustin. What's going on, brother?
Yeah. He says, hey, everyone, just wanted to drop in and show some love. We're going live in a few minutes. I'll catch up on the replay.
Sounds good, my man.
Sweet. 22Q Cat wants to know, and who's eating your bread right this minute? This girl. Yum. You're the best, Chris.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. I got a message from somebody else on my Facebook a little while ago, and they were telling me that they loved it and their daughter loved it and that they were really enjoying the bread. And I was like, y'all just don't know how happy it makes me and how much good it does my heart to know that, you know, put the work into the recipe and to develop it. I mean, this one was an 8-month long process of like research and development and practice and all these things. and I put it out there, and just to know that people love the recipe. And you know, we can always tweak it and make it better, and that's why we're doing this tips video tonight and doing the sandwiches, but just the fact that people are loving that makes me so happy.
Alice A says, hello from California. Thank you for the variety of carnivore recipes.
Oh, thank you, Alice. So glad you're here.
Barry Weems wants to know, Chris,
Yeah.
what you thinking about making a carnivore ice cream?
Carnivore ice cream. So I have a version that I did of a Keto Chow ice cream, but if you don't put the Keto Chow powder in it, it actually is a carnivore ice cream base. This is actually what I used to do when I made ice cream for Ash, back when we first started doing all this kind of stuff, and I would make chocolate ice cream for her that was like a keto ice cream. I would just use like cocoa powder and basically follow that recipe, and then I would add cocoa powder into it and make her a chocolate ice cream. So you can totally use that base, but I think there's also other things that I can do with it as we consider how to, again, you know, tweak and upgrade that recipe. But I do have that Keto Chow ice cream recipe, and if you just leave out the package of Keto Chow and the water that I dissolved the Keto Chow with, you leave those two things out, and it's perfect carnivore ice cream base ready to be flavored however you want.
I love it. Fun fact, so Kel here says, love your shirt, Chris. Did some genealogy and found out that Johnny Cash is a distant cousin.
Hey, there we go.
Very cool.
A little bit of distant royalty in the house then.
Yeah. Marcy Nab says, Marcy from Delaware, made the bread this morning, been eating it since, had a garlic butter grilled pizza type sandwich for dinner. Yummy.
That sounds fantastic. We're going to dive into some sandwiches ourselves tonight for dinner. That sounds really, really good. I'm so glad you're enjoying that. So, by the way, if you guys have pictures of this bread recipe, if you have made this recipe and you've sliced it and you've taken pictures with your cell phone, just whatever, feel free to send those to me. You can email them to me, info@chriscookingnashville.com, or you can send them to my Facebook or my Instagram, just anywhere I can get them. I'm compiling all sorts of pictures of this white bread recipe, and I'm gonna do probably like a tips type video, like an actual recorded tips type video where I'm going to go through some of the things that are easy pitfalls on these kinds of recipes, and I'm going to put it out at some point in the future. And I would love to have a whole collage of people's pictures of their successful bread recipe to show on there. So if you guys would like to send me that, you might see your picture featured in a upcoming Chris Cookin' Nashville video, if you wouldn't mind just shooting me those photos, and I'd love to see them.
Yeah.
So.
I also think we were talking about any recipe
Any
that anyone
recipe
makes, because I usually help Chris with his social media, and anytime that we see you've made one of his recipes, we try to share it.
Yeah.
And it's always just cool to see that you guys are actually creating them. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the bread, we actually have a question.
Yeah.
Some people are saying they've already made it and that it turned out great, or that they're actually eating it now.
Great.
So a couple comments are like that.
Yeah.
KZ, though, wants to know, can you freeze the bread? And if yes, how to thaw it?
Right there. Yes, so I would recommend you slice it, freeze it in some kind of like a Ziploc or an airtight type container, and then to thaw it out, I would say put it in the refrigerator for at least a day. It may take 2 to 3, depending on the temperature of your refrigerator. Thaw it in the fridge, because when you thaw it in the fridge, it is much more of a gentle thaw. It's not gonna like just immediately thaw on, you know, sitting on the countertop at room temperature and then get wet, because that's no good. So thaw it in the refrigerator, and then take it out, throw it onto a little cookie sheet or like a baking rack or something like that. Put it in a low oven, like 250 degrees, and just bring that up to kind of a warm temperature. That'll take any moisture off the outside of it without drying it out. And then if you want to fry it, or if you want to toast it, or whatever you want to do, you should be able to use it from there. And I have instructions on the recipe card at the bottom for how to refrigerate and freeze, and a reminder of how to thaw it in the fridge. So
awesome. Can I ask just one question?
Yeah, of
and
course.
then we can dive in
Of
whenever
course.
you're ready. Mike really would like some help. He would like to know, what is the difference between carnivore lifestyle and keto lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Mike, thank you for asking it. I'm assuming you're probably new to the channel, and maybe even new to the keto and carnivore sort of way of life, or maybe it's just pure curiosity you'd like to know. But either way, it's a great question, and thank you for asking it. So the difference between keto and carnivore is made out of all animal products, and then keto is still on that low carb spectrum, but you include more plant items as well. So think of the proper human diet, this is how Dr. Berry describes it. Think of the proper human diet as a spectrum. and you have low carb, not even keto necessarily, but like low carb and paleo and those kinds of things are up at the one end. And as you go further and further, you're getting lower and lower in carbs, and you start cutting out more and more and more of those carbs. You get all the way down to, you go through keto, and then you go through ketovore, which is a little bit of plant, but very little, like, 10 grams of carbs or less per day is what they say. And then you go down to carnivore, which is staying as close to zero carbs as possible, which basically requires you to use all animal product. Now the dirty side of carnivore does use spices and coffee. That's kind of what we do. And then if you want to lean really strict carnivore, it's like meat and salt and water. And if you want to go to the absolute extreme, it's the lion diet, which is only ruminant meat. So red meat like beef and goat and elk and moose and any of the ruminant animals that chew the cud, basically, that have red meat, salt, and water. So it's just kind of a spectrum and where you fall on that. For us, we're dirty carnivore, so we do carnivore. We do a little bit more dairy than some carnivores do, and we use some spices and do coffee, and then occasionally we flex and we have keto or ketovore things, and we're actually going to have a little bit of that tonight with our sandwiches because I'm doing a keto club. Because how long has it been since either of us has had a club sandwich?
Way too long.
Yeah, we love club sandwiches, but the bread is the part that really kills it, and that's why we don't do it, but we've got that fixed. So speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and pull some bread out of the oven.
Yeah.
This has just been baked, and it's been resting, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't looked at it other than when I cracked the oven before. So if this is terrible, this could be like the most embarrassing live stream moment of all time if this was a total failure. But I'm usually pretty confident that my recipes work before I put them out. So there we go.
I also think that's the fun thing, though. We've talked about live streams.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. It might totally fall apart. It might be a complete disaster, and you guys would be here for it live, and I would have a bunch of egg on my face, which I'm a carnivore, so that's okay.
Yeah, we just roll it.
And I apologize, everyone, if I am clearing my throat a lot tonight. Allergies have been so bad in Nashville because we have rain and heat and all of that kind of stuff, and it's blooming really bad. The cottonwood especially is blooming really bad, and Ash can tell you, it is just a mess.
Yeah, our allergies have been killing both of us for about a good solid 2 weeks.
All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, no sinking in. Wonderful.
Love it.
And by the way, this silicone bread pan that I make this in, it's the perfect size. These do such a good job. They never stick. I actually have a set of these linked in the description box for you guys. So if you don't have a bread pan, or if you tried one and it doesn't seem to work and you want to try a different one, these are what I use. They're linked down below, and they do such a good job.
Love it.
So we're going to flip this upside down to slice it, because it's much easier to slice on this part than it is this kind of crusty top part here. So it's just a lot easier to see exactly how to make your slices when you can look at it from the bottom. So that's why I do that.
Kathy Hume wants to know, how long does the bread last on the counter?
So we had it for, because I did some of this and I put it on the counter to test it specifically. I think it was like, what, 4 days before it started looking funky? Something like that.
I remember because we experimented with like a test loaf, and then when we filmed the video, we had some left over. I think, to my recollection, I thought it was more like a week.
It may have been. I can't remember exactly how long, but it was definitely like I would say 3 to 5 days is fairly safe. I would be careful and double check it, because it does have like dairy and eggs and things in it. And it is going to work a little differently than, say, flour bread would. But, 3 to 5 days you may get away with. You might even get more of it out of that. But I know for a fact in the fridge that it goes at least a week.
Yep.
So, or at least it did for us, so.
I'm sure humidity in different climates and stuff would
different humidities, different temperatures, different kinds of bacteria type things that float in the air where you live. I mean, all of that stuff, gets into here. So, by the way, this looks and feels amazing. Beautiful, beautiful bread.
Very pretty. Southern Keto, I know you'll find this funny, says, now you've gone and done it. You were supposed to save the breads for us keto folks. Totally kidding. This is a game changer.
Oh man, thank you so much. You guys, I'm telling you what, Victor is not only just a good friend, but he's got a really good channel. If you haven't checked out Southern Keto, you really should go see what he did. He did keto Pop-Tarts today.
People were saying that.
Yes.
And I really would like one.
Yes, they look fantastic. I'm going to have to take his recipe, and one of these days when Ash and I decide to get a little loosey-goosey with our diet, I'm going to have to make some keto Pop-Tarts for us, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This bread looks so good.
It looks great. It feels great. Also, some people were asking, you know, all of my measurements I tend to do in like teaspoons, tablespoons, whatever, because that's what I grew up on, was like the old school cooking style of that kind of stuff. But if you're someone who wants to weigh all these ingredients out for accuracy, we did own a bakery. I do understand. At one point in time, I did everything in grams in my life. I went ahead and weighed everything out when I made this loaf for you guys, and you can see it has come out so, so nice. So if you want it to be exactly what I did here, I actually updated the recipe card, and you can go to my website and see that with all the gram measurements now for the dry ingredients.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The Greater Benefit says, holla, Chris and everybody. Thinking of going to the kitchen and cooking with you guys. Although it's 3 a.m. where I am. Can't sleep anyway.
Oh, goodness. Where are you from?
Yeah.
That's late. Where are you from?
That's a lot. Carnivore Amateur's here.
Hello, Carnivore Amateur.
He says, hi, Chris and Ash. Hey, chat groupies. I made it before the live was over.
Yeah, there we go. By the way, if you guys don't know, Carnivore Amateur also has a channel and does some very cool, like, candid talks and talks about his journey on carnivore, and you guys should totally go check out Carnivore Amateur's channel. So major shout out. Appreciate him being here.
Yeah. I think you'll love this comment. I think this is so sweet. Holly Springer says, my 3-year-old grandson loved your cheese cracker video.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I like it when you can get the little ones involved.
Says he watched it and then sang with y'all to one of Ash's videos.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Have some cheese crackers and country music. I love that.
That's right.
Raise
so
them right.
I was going to show you guys, so you can see this is this beautiful bread texture, and when you go to tear it, because I kind of sliced this piece the wrong way anyway, it tears like bread. It looks a lot like bread. It's just beautiful, and we're gonna. It was very good. It has such a good flavor, a great texture. I can eat it by itself. It's not choky. It doesn't make you don't need a glass of water to get it down. It's really good.
Also, you can tell it must be really good because, you know, every Tuesday we don't see the dog until at the end, like when you're plating stuff up. And look who's already here.
And there we are.
Right there.
There we are.
Loves it. She loves it.
Let's see if she approves of it. I'm sure she will, but.
We're going to do a little taste test.
Yep. We're going to do a little taste test. Can you sit? No. 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 Yes. There we go.
There you go.
All right. So first things first, we're going to get a grilled cheese going because we have to get a grilled cheese going. So, all right.
Randy says, Chris, your loaf of bread looks awesome.
Thank you. I love this recipe so much. It really, now that I've done it a few times, like the final version of it, I've done it a few times. It makes me so, so happy to have this available. And it's, I mean, truthfully, like today, I really didn't even think about it. I just kind of did it. The only part of it that took me a minute was I had to weigh everything out because I have been getting those questions and I wanted to try to, you know, get that info for people. So.
Absolutely. Rankin Cook Kanoy, by the way, gave you a $19.99 super thanks.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Those allergies are bad.
Yeah. Says Chris and Ash, thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Randy, we appreciate you so, so much. Also, Randy's a big element of the live streams here. He's always here. He's super supportive. And I just want to put it out there for you guys. Just keep Randy and Eva in your thoughts and prayers. That's all I'm going to say. But we love them, and we just want them to know that we're here for them, and they could use that. So we love them very much.
We're all one big happy family.
Yes.
Yeah. 22Q Cat says, ask me how many times I've made your Cheez-Its. Love them. They are so good.
I'm so glad you enjoy those so much. I love those too. All right, butter. Bread.
Yeah.
Soak up the butter with the bread. Cheese. This really shouldn't be probably that groundbreaking for any of you, but you know, hey, here we are.
It may be simple.
It may be
man,
simple,
is
but
it
it's
delicious.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it is beautiful. It really, really is. It's such a great thing. By the way, this is a Lodge cast iron, a griddle pan that I got. It's like a griddle hybrid skillet style pan. This thing is great, and especially for something like this, when you're doing sandwiches and you want to like get underneath to flip it, this is so much easier than trying to like do this, you know, in a pan that has like a big high side. So I might consider something like that. I have some Lodge cast iron stuff also linked down below, but if you are interested in this specifically, you can go find this on Amazon, and it does a really great job.
Barry Weems wants to know, could you use this recipe to make, say, hamburger buns, hot dog buns, or even say like bogey rolls for meatball subs and ribeye steak subs?
Yes. So if you go look at the cheesesteak video that I did with Victor over at Southern Keto, we made the hoagie style rolls. That would be perfect for like meatball subs or any of that kind of stuff. If you want to do hamburger buns or hot dog buns, I think it would work the exact same way. I'd use the same ratios that I did for his version with the Philly cheesesteak on that video. I would use the same ratios that I did on his channel, but I would probably reduce the cooking time a little bit because a hamburger bun or a hot dog bun is going to be a little smaller. So you'd probably need to reduce the cooking time by maybe 3 to 5 minutes, depending on your oven. So just kind of keep an eye on it, and when it's nice and brown and puffy and it's looking great, whatever, do exactly what I do with the hoagie roll. It might just take a few less minutes than the hoagie roll did.
By the way, there are several comments. I won't probably read them all, but
Yeah.
Lots of people are talking about how Victor did his Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
And so they're challenging you to do a carnivore Pop-Tart.
A carnivore Pop-Tart?
Yeah, or like
Okay.
a meat pie, which I know is something you'd already kind of talked about.
Yeah, we've been
Is
looking
it
into
pasties?
pasties. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been looking into and experimenting with ideas of what we can do with some kind of a meat pie / pasty / carnivore Pop-Tart. So yes, we will definitely take a look at that. We'll see what we can do.
Just letting you know, the people are wanting it.
Hey, I appreciate people telling us what they want to see.
Tammy C, by the way, says, I have a loaf of your bread cooling.
Yeah, there we go.
Janice says, Chris, I declare you the king of carnivore.
Janice, you're very sweet. You're very, very kind. This is honestly, guys, this is a recipe that I've put a lot of time into. And you know, the thing is, I haven't made a massive number of like bread type things. I mean, I've made some different buns and some stuff, but it's not like a regular thing I've done because I've been working to research this and try to get it right, because I didn't want to do one that was just kind of my own twist on what everyone else has already done. Because just me personally, I was never a huge fan of a lot of those, and quite honestly, it's already been done anyway, and it's been done by those creators better than I could ever do it. So I was like, well, I need something that would be kind of more to my taste, more my style, and something that I think would work really well. So what can I do? And it's taken me a long time to research, contemplate this, think about what I would do. And I've been, you know, kind of experimenting with my different buns and things, trying to find the right technique. But once I kind of stumbled on this technique, I was like, yes, that combined with what I've learned about the buns and the other things I've done, that's the technique I think I need to go with. And I started experimenting, and here we are. Making a grilled cheese sandwich on my carnivore bread. So it's been a little bit of a long process, but we got there.
I think it's well worth it too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So we're just kind of getting this cheese melted down, and then this grilled cheese is going to be done, and then I'm going to start toasting up some bread so we can make a keto club. Yes, my lovely lady over here is getting antsy about having a club, I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Margaret Rubber wants to know, what size is the loaf pan you used?
So these loaf pans, I've got them linked down below, so you'd have to go to Amazon to see the exact measurement. But I mean, they're probably like, you know, a few inches wide on the inside and a few inches high, and they're probably about 9-ish inches long. So it's probably like a 3x3x9, something like that. That would be approximately what I would say it is. There we go. That cheese starting to melt now.
John says, man, it's been almost a decade since I've had a club sandwich. I need to give this a try.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's the thing. You know, you get that. And look, it might take a couple of times, but if you guys get the recipe like tweaked for your oven, where you are, the kind of egg white powder and the kind of cream and all that stuff you're using, get it all tweaked perfectly, and it may take a few tries. Get it tweaked perfectly, and it comes out like this, and it's beautiful. And honestly, it's just easy. You know, it really, really is. It takes a little bit of practice the first few times, but after you get it down, it really legitimately does become very simple to just do this. So, and there is our grilled cheese sandwich on carnivore bread.
Yum.
Now, I will tell you, this sandwich bread does brown a little faster than, say, if you got sandwich bread at the market, so you want to turn your temperature down a little lower than what you would normally use this for if you were doing some other kind of bread. So, just an FYI.
Speaking of your bread, Don Smith says, I turned some of your bread into bread pudding. It's delicious.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
Yeah. And then Tanya T wants to know, is your bread freezable? And let's see, Diane wants to know, how would you recommend storing the bread?
Yep. So it is freezable. And here at the beginning I showed this, but I'll show you again. I've got some in the freezer in a Ziploc style bag, just some kind of an airtight container. Goes in the freezer after you slice it, and then thaw it for a day or 2 or 3, depending on how long it would take, in the refrigerator. Pull it out, put it into a warm oven like 250, just enough to kind of dry out the surface slightly for a few minutes and warm it up, and it's ready to use. Should be ready to use just like it was fresh.
Cool.
So you just want to thaw it slowly though in a freezer, or in the refrigerator from the freezer, because if you thaw it too quickly, it may get wet and squishy, and we don't want that.
Your parents say, love the Chris Cooking Nashville size spatula.
Yes, actually I have this link down below for you guys. This is a very wide and flat spatula, so it's easier to get underneath things like bread and sandwiches and that kind of stuff. I have this here because, one, it's just easy to do this, but it's also what I use when I make like my tortillas. Hey, look at that, it's toast. I didn't even put butter on the pan, it's just toast.
Just toast?
It's just toast, bread that toasts. What a concept, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't own a toaster anymore, so we might have to get one of those now that we have this recipe, but I got rid of the toaster because we never used it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think you were carnivore for a whole year almost, and it was like, are we going to use this? Probably not.
Right.
Little vanilla.
Well, here's the deal. I went carnivore, and I was like, I need to get this out of the house because it's tempting, and I never expected that I was going to have a YouTube channel where I was going to do things like carnivore recipes. Like I was before I had started doing any of this. So I had no idea I was going to need that.
Margaret Weber says, hey everyone, we have been enjoying so many wonderful foods thanks to you guys.
Oh, Margaret, I'm so happy to hear that. Really does. It does make Ash and I feel so good and just so useful that people can come here, watch what we do, and then use it in their own lives and get to enjoy it and benefit from it. I mean, that's, for us, that's just like the ultimate thing. Ash and I have a very like, whatever you do should be for the good of other people kind of philosophy about whatever it is we're capable of. The Lord gave us talents to be able to use to help other people, and if we don't take time to help other people, then we're kind of squandering them for us. So we're very glad that you guys enjoy this.
Speaking of your bread, got a question or two if you're cool with that.
Great.
Jenna says, would doubling the recipe for a larger loaf work? If yes, how much cook time? Also, can I use regular yeast because that's all I have? I don't eat a lot of dairy anymore, so a very nice treat. Love you too. Yeah,
great questions. So doubling the recipe should work totally fine. There's nothing chemically that should in any way be negatively affected by doing so. Now, the issue there is going to be, how do we keep it from getting burnt on the outside and getting it cooked through? Because the larger the loaf becomes, the faster the outside has the potential to burn before the inside gets cooked. So we have to think about like, what would we do to make that happen? So what I would say is, if you're doing 325 on this, if you want to make a double-sized loaf, it may be worth taking it down to 300 and going for like an hour or maybe even an hour and 15 minutes. Short of experimenting with it, I can't say for sure, but you can definitely bake it longer at a little bit lower temperature, and you should be able to get that exact same thing to happen. You should have no problems doubling the recipe though, chemically, totally fine. One of the other things I did, and I updated this in the description and also on the recipe card, if you're measuring your baking soda, if you get a little bit too much baking soda can start to taste a little chemically. And I don't want you guys to be fighting with that. So you're better to err on the other side. I tried to really get the ratio perfect, but if you're gonna err on one side or the other, I would say you need to err on the side of less baking soda compared to vinegar. Because vinegar will chemically undo what baking soda does. And the two of those things together creates carbon dioxide and water, and that's what we're trying to get it to do. So if you use that, what I would recommend is go ahead and use 2 teaspoons of white vinegar for 1 teaspoon of baking soda. That way if you get a little extra baking soda in there, it's not gonna be a problem. You're not gonna get a chemical flavor. It should work with the 1 teaspoon, and lots of people obviously have said that it works great, but if you're concerned about it, or just to be on the safe side, use an extra teaspoon of vinegar, and that way you don't have to worry about that chemicaliness. As far as the yeast that you were asking about, if you have just regular yeast, yes, that will work. Just dissolve it with a teaspoon of water about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you mix it into the cream. That's all you gotta do. No problem.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Zelda Franklin says, have you tried putting a sheet of paper towel in the freezer with your bread? I do this with regular bread and it helps to keep it from getting soggy.
You know, I haven't done that, but that's actually a really smart idea. So there you go, folks. Maybe consider putting a sheet of paper towel in there, and then that way when it thaws back out, that paper towel will absorb the extra moisture. That's really smart.
Yeah.
That's really, really smart.
And if you try it and it works well,
yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, if you try it and it works, then put a comment someplace so we can all benefit.
Robin Newman says, I made your bread Monday and forgot the vinegar. It was still delicious. I am a truck driver and brought it on the truck to eat this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if you forget the vinegar, essentially what's going to happen is the baking soda is only going to be able to react with the little bit of acid that's in the egg yolk. And that's why you should not have an issue with a 1-to-1 ratio of the baking soda and the vinegar, because there's other acid already in the mixture a little bit from the yolks. But, you know, some people are a little more sensitive to a baking soda flavor, or, you know, you might be concerned, maybe you accidentally overmeasure the baking soda, whatever the case may be. So just something to be aware of. But obviously, even without the vinegar, it can still taste great. So that's really cool. Thank you so much for telling us that.
Yeah. Cindy Braddock says, a fried egg sandwich with spoonful mayo. The possibilities are so many.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what's really cool about this. So, like, what kinds of sandwiches do you guys want to do with this? Because now, if you have white bread, like, there's all these different kinds of things out there that now we can start to experiment with and do. And some of them are keto, some are carnivore. Like, you know, there's a lot of different options. And, you know, it's one thing to say, like, oh yeah, we have a carnivore bread, but it's maybe, it doesn't toast, or it doesn't do what we want it to do, or we don't like it, or it's, I don't know, whatever reason might be that you haven't made the other versions that are out there. But if you like this one, like I do, and it's like, oh, it doesn't make me choke, it tastes fantastic, it's, you know, any of these things, what now does that open up for us to be able to do? I got sent a picture of somebody who did eggs, sausage, and toast to dip into the yolk of the eggs. Like, how cool is that we can do that now?
Tracy Keller wants to know, can you leave the yeast out?
Yeah, absolutely. The yeast, the only thing it does is it's a flavor function. Essentially, the yeast starts to develop a little bit. That's why I use instant usually, or why if you're using an active dry yeast, I say, you know, use a teaspoon of water to kind of get it developing a little bit. But essentially, it just adds a little bit of that yeasty bread thing. It's subtle, but it's really nice in there. But if you don't have it, or if you don't want to use it, you can totally do it without it. It's not going to chemically affect anything in the bread.
Tammy C says, my husband said if you weren't going to start a restaurant using your recipes, that he was going to do it.
You know, I've had a lot of people comment that I should. And as much as I think that would be super cool, when we owned a bakery, we actually looked into the possibility of having a storefront for the bakery, because it came around to that point. And we calculated it out, and it was going to be anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million in startup money. I was going to work 7 days a week, probably 15 to 18-hour days, and we were hoping we would turn a profit within 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's just, as much as I think that would be cool, I didn't have it in me. I just didn't. It's so hard to start a food business like that, but I sure would love it if there was something like that out there that we could all enjoy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of times the reality of that kind of stuff is that basically it turns into what is the most profitable, and what is the most profitable very rarely coincides with what is the healthiest choice to make. At least not currently in our food culture the way that it is with corporations and what they do with food and everything. That's just not, it's just not something we get a lot of options with, at least at the moment. So
yeah. Well, I think it kind of worked out though, because I think it would be weird if you owned an actual bakery.
Oh yeah.
But then you became a carnivore.
A carnivore recipe creator.
Yeah, I think it all really worked out.
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah. Let's see here. Cindy says that every loaf I tried of the original and some of the variations caved in on all sides, talking about all the different breads out there. Even the hint to put skewers in it failed. I have to try this one.
Yeah, well, if you get the ratio of the egg white powder to the other ingredients correct, and if you get the baking time and the temperature right, and you get the egg whites whipped properly with the way that I put it all together, it doesn't sink and it sticks up totally fine, and there's no chokiness to it. It's really fantastic. It might take a little bit of practice, but if you do it a couple of times, I guarantee you'll get it right. Did you guys see that try to jump off the pan there?
Yeah. People are asking, by the way, I think all you're doing right now is just toasting bread,
Yep,
right?
I'm just toasting bread because we're going to do the club sandwich, and then we're going to throw together a couple of other little things here. And if anyone has more questions about the bread, let us know. But I think this is super cool. Like, we can toast this bread. I'm not even using a toaster. I'm just using a hot pan, and there's nothing on it. Like the butter that I was using for the grilled cheese, it's already gone.
Look how great it looks too.
So yeah, it's just toasting up really, really perfectly. And this is the secret though of having the egg yolks in this. If you have the yolks in this, not only does it add fat and flavor, not egg flavor, but just flavor, but it also allows it to toast without having to add like allulose or sweeteners or different things in it.
D, I'm so going to probably mispronounce this, and so I'm so sorry. I think it's pronounced D. Pascal. Says, you guys have made this diet feel doable for years to come. Just one question.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed a difference in the final product between egg white powders or gelatin brands?
A little bit, but not massively. So the biggest thing that happens is if you get an egg white powder and you don't read the ingredients label and you find out later on that it has like soy lecithin or other binders or different things in it, that will ruin your recipes. So the only time that I've ever really struggled with egg white powder is I got a cheaper bag of it, and this was back probably 6 months ago or something like that. I got a cheap bag of it that had just gone on sale, and I can't even remember the brand anymore, but it was one that I had not used before. And I used it, and it tasted very odd, very off. It didn't seem like, it wasn't very good. It was like it was too dry. It was very weird. I tried it a couple of more times. The recipes just didn't seem to turn out that great, and I never bought that one again, which is why I don't remember what it is anymore. But for the most part, as long as the only ingredient is egg whites on the ingredient list, for the most part, the ones that I've used all work pretty much exactly the same. So now the one that I've used most consistently up until now is Now brand, N-O-W, Now brand egg white powder, the unflavored kind. But I actually started working with sportprotein.com, that should be linked down below. And I'm starting to experiment with their stuff, and there's a discount code. So if you'd like to go try that one, I have a discount code for you guys. And I know a lot of people really like that one too. So one of those two for sure will work for you.
Yeah. Your parents were saying that Papa just tuned in, and
Yeah.
if you could say hey to him real loud.
Well, hello, Grandpa. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody in the comments, you can say hi to him. He probably won't see it on the TV, but my parents can tell him about it afterwards.
Yeah.
So say hi to him. He is 95, 96 years old, coming up on 96, I guess. So.
Yeah. Sue says, watching from Australia, caught you in my morning tea break. I made hamburger buns from recipe. Love it. Best I've tried. Thanks, guys.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, and you're so welcome. That's the kind of stuff, guys. If you do this and you use this and you're making stuff, like tell us what you're making so that we can keep track of like who all's doing what with this, so we can tell other people about it too. It's great.
Absolutely. People, by the way, bunch of comments talking about, have you tried like doing maybe croutons with this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So actually, a beautiful, wonderful member of my band, of my Patreon group, which they will be getting a specific shout out, but a member of my Patreon group bought the monstrosity that is sitting over here and had this sent to me This is a new food dehydrator, and it's huge, and it has amazing just properties of dehydrating food. I've already made some beef jerky with it, which is incredible. I'm working on a beef jerky recipe for you guys, but I used that to do that. While I was making the beef jerky, I took an extra slice of the bread and I stuck it in there, dehydrated it down some just to see what it would do, and it really worked pretty well. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try with one of these, I'm gonna cut them into chunks and I'm gonna dehydrate them and then toss them in some butter and fry them in a pan, or maybe toast them in an oven or something like that, and see if we can make carnivore croutons for whatever you would want to use them for. Because yes, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you, thinking that is definitely something I would love to be able to develop.
Lynn was talking about maybe some stuffing too.
Yes. I actually had another person who asked me about the idea of making a carnivore stuffing out of this, and I said, well, I've got a stuffing recipe from this last Thanksgiving. I think using that recipe, but using this method of bread, instead of making that bread that I did, make this, dry it out, cut it up, and use it, I think it might work. I think it would be like a classic like Thanksgiving stuffing like we're all used to. So
absolutely.
Okay, so there are some sets of toast. Now we can go ahead and actually, do a little bit of putting some stuff together here. My wife is probably starting to get hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
He
starting to get
literally was
hungry.
like, how do you feel about a sandwich party? I'm like, I'm in. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, so there's not anything too particularly life-changing about this, but I'll just show you how I like to make this club with this carnivore bread. And now this club is keto. This is not carnivore, so if someone is watching this and wants to start yelling about the fact that lettuce and tomato and all that stuff are not carnivore, I know it's okay. It's all right. We don't have to freak out over it. It's going to be just fine.
No one will die.
No one will die.
No one will die. We will have a good time.
Yep, it's all going to be good.
Hey, Kathy has I think a great question.
Yeah.
Any ideas on getting a sourdough flavor with this bread?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm thinking about that. So the thing that's difficult is the more acid you add, the more it starts to chemically counteract a little bit of what's going on with the eggs. Now, it doesn't mean that it won't work, but it needs to have a balance. And so I have to figure out, how would we do that? How would we balance that out? And what would I do to balance that out? So I'm definitely thinking of that and trying to figure that out. So, but that's awesome. A great idea.
Absolutely. Zenali Cat says, my thing is not to taste like eggs. Amen,
yep.
Hallelujah, I feel that.
Yep.
I tried this one and I liked it, but I added some plain yogurt in my second batch and it was perfect in taste.
There we go. So what that may be is when you have a little bit more acid, which yogurt is going to be a little more acidic than, like, say, a cream or something, obviously, that will offset some of those different, like, sulfur compounds and stuff in eggs that will potentially start to taste like eggs. So that's the thing. If you guys find tweaks of this like that and you like it better that way, like, heck yeah, go for it. And let me know what it is so I can try it too. So this is turkey and ham going on here. I just got the cleanest kind I can find at the deli. I'm sure it's not perfect, but again, we don't freak out over these things. It's going to be okay. Yeah. And Ash does not like cheese on her sandwich. So we're going to put the next layer on here.
Renee Reed, I'll read her comment here, but maybe you could help troubleshoot on why she maybe had this issue with her bread. She says, made the bread Saturday.
Yep.
And she said she wasn't thrilled with the outcome.
Okay.
She said, strange taste and a little gummy patch in a place near bottom on one side. Okay.
So the gummy patch is going to be the result of either egg white powder or gelatin that did not get mixed in all the way. So this is kind of a hard thing when you first start doing this, but you have to kind of figure out, like, how do I get everything mixed in completely without fully deflating the whole thing? Because if you over mix, it can totally throw everything off too. So that's going to cause your gummy patch. Now, as far as the taste, put it in the comments. Let me know what kind of taste was it? Like, was it a weird egg flavor? Was it a chemical flavor? Was it something else? Like, let me know what the weird taste was, because depending on what kind of taste it was, I may be able to diagnose why that would have been the case. So, and here's the deal. Like, if there's a slight egg flavor, that's maybe a little understandable because it does have eggs in it. And depending on how you cook it and the eggs you had and the egg white powder you're using and that kind of stuff, there's a potential for a minimal amount of flavor. But I mean, that's the same thing with like a brioche bread, because half the store-bought bread that you get actually has egg or dairy or other things in it. It's an enriched bread. That's what we used to make in our bakery. But it should not be a weird flavor, and it definitely shouldn't be a strong egg flavor at all, if there's any at all. So, and you can ask my wife about the strong egg flavor of this bread when it either is or is not there, because she'll spit it out.
I've spit out, I think, every other version of low-carb bread that you've given me, whether it was someone else's, thing they created or whether it was store-bought. I've spit it out.
A couple of experiments that I've made, you've also refused to eat.
Yeah, I did. I said, hey, tastes like eggs.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Well, yeah. If I can just say something too as your wife.
Of course.
If the wife gets to make a comment.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that Renee said something though about how she made it and maybe it didn't quite turn out as well. And clearly you have solutions on, oh, hey, maybe this was the case there or that. We're not making something that maybe existed before. Things like carnivore mashed potatoes, like these recipes are new.
We're in uncharted waters here.
We really are. So if you do make one of Chris's recipes, instead of just saying, oh, it wasn't good or whatever, please just message him. There's 20,000 ways you can get a hold of us.
Yeah, I'm not hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, and just let us know, and we're more than happy to help guide you and figure out maybe what went wrong. But I see Chris bust his butt in this kitchen testing all this stuff out, and we try things, and I know for a fact they work, so
absolutely,
just let us know.
Well, here's the deal. When you guys see it on video, we make it, and then we sit down after the camera goes off, and we eat it. That's how it works. So
absolutely. This sandwich looks so good, by the way. People are pumped, by the way. You have a dehydrator.
Yeah. Keto Club made on carnivore bread, my friends.
Yum.
Yeah. Now, you're going to probably have to let me hold the camera because you're going to have to taste that.
Yes. Here. There's that.
All right.
Are you going to take a bite too? Is that?
Oh, I might after you're done.
This is a very Chris-sized sandwich, by the way. It takes like both hands to grab it. So good.
Somebody's happy. How long has it been since you've had a club sandwich, though? I mean, it's been a long time.
It's probably been about like 3 years.
Yeah.
I'll say about 3 years.
Yeah.
Super good. Would you like to take a bite?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get my camera back.
Yeah. See what we got going on here.
That's seriously so good, though. Whoa, you're even dancing.
Let me tell you guys something. This is one of my favorite things, memories-wise. I hope my mom is still watching. When I was a kid, my mom and I have always been very close. And my dad and I too. But my mom and I used to do this thing. We would occasionally go out for lunch together, just the two of us. And there was a place in a little town called Batesville, Indiana. There's this little restaurant called Mugsy's. And we would go there, and my mom used to get club sandwiches every now and then. And so when I was a kid, I tried hers, and I fell in love with club sandwich. That's why I love them so much. And we would go to Mugsy's, and we would get club sandwiches, and we would sit there. And it was like a mom-son date day, right, kind of thing. And we would just kind of hang out, the two of us. And I think one of the reasons that I love club sandwiches so much to this day is because it still makes me remember being like 8 or 9 years old and going to lunch with my mom. That's what I think of every time I eat a club sandwich, and I have as long as I can remember. And that makes me feel like I'm sitting at Mugsy's with my mom. I wish she was here so that she could be enjoying it with us, and I could relive that. But hopefully we'll get to do that at some point in time. We can get her down here to Nashville again. But yeah, my dad is not necessarily into the sandwich thing quite the same way. He likes sandwiches, but not like the big thick sandwiches like my mom and I do. He's more of like he would more like a Philly cheesesteak. That would be more like what he would want to do. So, but yeah, that's one of the coolest memories. And that's the thing, guys, when you make stuff like this, it's really nice to be able to relive things that are important to you, memories that you have, and things that socially and culturally are important to us without having to feel like massively compromise on a keto or carnivore way of life. It's one of the things that's best about doing this, and that's why I love doing this. It's why I work so hard to do it. So
Yeah. Your mom is still here. She said, I was thinking about Mugsies as you were making this.
Yeah.
And then she says that you're now making her cry.
Well.
Yeah. Get the tissues. Get the tissues.
Yeah. I mean, I'd seriously though, that's a memory that has popped up every time I've eaten a club sandwich since I was probably, I think about the first time I remember doing that. We probably did it before this, but I remember probably I was like 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, something like that. Ever since then, I mean, I'm going to be 36 in July. Ever since I was like 7 or 8 years old, every time I eat a club sandwich, that's the thing that I remember. So it's really cool.
It's interesting how food can have such great
Absolutely.
memories associated. Babe, KZ says, can you say hi to my son, Thomas? His birthday is Thursday, making your keto cake.
Oh, hello, Thomas, and happy early birthday. How old is Thomas going to be?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know how old Thomas is going to be, but happy birthday to Thomas. Everybody tell Thomas happy birthday down in the comments. That would be fantastic for him to get to see that.
Yeah.
Enjoy that keto cake, too. That's good stuff. That's what I had for my birthday.
And it was really, really good.
Yep.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
Lori says, your bread is fantastic, and I share a recipe and name with all the groups I'm on.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. I agree with you that the bread is wonderful. That's just my opinion, but I do agree that you are right because I just had some and it's fantastic. So
Yeah.
it's
good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Thank you for that.
Thomas is going to be 8, by the way.
Thomas is going to be 8.
That's a fun age.
Oh man. Okay, so he's getting to be like a young man now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no wonder he's got to have things like a keto birthday cake. Like he's starting to learn this stuff, like how to take care of himself and starting to grow up and having to, do those mature guy things that we all have to learn how to do at that age. So happy birthday to Thomas.
Yeah. I wonder if Thomas has had your chicken nugget recipe yet, because man, when I was 8, I know I ate a lot of chicken nuggets.
But that chicken
Some
nugget
good
recipe
stuff.
is awfully good, especially when you're 8 years old and you're running around with all that energy and you've got you barely got enough time to sit still and eat as it is. You can grab chicken nuggets and eat them on the go. So
yeah. Folks are talking about having your mom back in a recipe video sometime soon when they can.
Yeah, no, I would really love to do that. My parents unfortunately live about 5.5, depending on traffic hours away from us here in Nashville. And because they take care of my grandpa who is up there and help out around the house with him, it's just tough for them to get away very much. And when they do, there's not a lot of call for them to come down here. And here's the other thing. If they happen to be able to come to Nashville, half the time we're not here or we're already so booked up we wouldn't even see them anyway. And so it's getting our schedules to coincide. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge. But we'll make that happen for sure. I would love to get my mom back in the kitchen when I can edit videos that aren't massively long and annoying like that first one of the mashed potatoes. So that's a great recipe, but that's a terrible video.
We probably have to redo it at some point.
Yeah, I need to redo it. I need to redo it.
Yeah, it's okay. Let me find it. I saw a great question pop in a second ago.
Yeah.
Let me just find this here. Velocity Trading, just found you. Curious, how far have you come on your journey in the weight loss category? Love the channel and recipes. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to take a bite of that grilled cheese with Colin.
Yeah, don't leave it. How is that grilled cheese, by the way?
It's so good. It's gotten a little cool now. I'm gonna heat it back up, but so before we discovered keto and carnivore and all these other things, I know for sure I was at least 385 pounds. I may have been 400 at one point or more. Since then, I have lost 130 pounds, and I have completely changed my mental state with like this mental fog and anxiety and depression that I had. I didn't really realize I had that. I had a career in residence life in higher education for a while before I came back to doing the music thing that I had initially come to Nashville for. And we were trained to recognize symptoms of like mental health issues and depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and like all these different things. And I did not recognize them in myself. It's very hard to recognize it in yourself sometimes, but I didn't. And then after I started eating a carnivore diet, keto definitely helped me start losing weight and feel better. But after I started carnivore the first time, this mental thing, this clarity happened, this thing lifted. and I became a completely different person, and I became a lot more of the man that my wife deserves for me to be. And it made me a lot happier to be able to be the kind of guy that she deserves, because I just had the mental clarity and the patience and the gentleness and the things that come along with that mental clarity. The irritability went away, the depression went away. I had the energy. I felt a lot better, and was very, very happy to experience that. So I've come a long way, not only with my physical stature of all of the weight that I carry, but also with my mental health.
And sorry, how much weight have you lost total?
130 pounds.
Awesome. And how tall are you?
I am 6 feet. I am 6 feet tall. So
yeah.
I float anywhere from like 253 is the lowest I've seen, all the way up to 260. I kind of have just a 5 to 7 pound range in there that I've been floating back and forth for a while. But you guys will see in the health vlog that's coming out tomorrow, there's some pictures. I put on a shirt that is big and baggy and looks like a dress on me. It's the first time I've had it on in a long time. And it's like, even when you don't think you're seeing anything change on the scale, you go to put on shirts that you haven't worn in a while and suddenly they fit you totally different. You realize your body is changing even if the scale is not. This shirt is actually one of those too. This used to be like super tight around my stomach like this, and it would like sit up above my belly, it would hang out.
At one point, I know that when we were dating, so years back, I know that you wore that shirt because I actually bought that shirt for you.
Yep.
And you're like, you could basically see your belly button, like it like sat so high up.
Yep, it was wrapped around me tight like this, and I had so much like extra weight in my shoulders and my arms and my back and everything that it pulled the shirt up and the belly button started sticking out. I'm not going to show you guys that. You don't want to see that.
I was going to say, what this family show. What are you doing?
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I've really come a long way. And I mean, Ash has too. Like, you guys don't see her on camera as much, and she doesn't share like the pictures and everything like I do of, like, here's me with my shirt off and 130 extra pounds hanging off of me. She doesn't have that kind of stuff out there in public, but she's lost over 100 pounds and is like changed all of these things about her health too. So rock on to my wife, because she is amazing and has done wonderful things with it.
Well, I saw someone earlier, I wasn't going to mention it, but they made a comment, like essentially like kind of asking like, why are we still overweight? Yeah. And it's like, I think we talk about this all the time in health vlogs. So if you guys are curious, there's nothing wrong with asking that question, but it's like, I think you kind of need to realize where we started. Yeah. And then what we've done over the past couple of years, and we're daily getting up and trying to do things to continue down that pattern. Yeah. So
also, here's kind of one of these things, for anyone who might be watching this, if your first thought is like, well, why are these people still overweight? People have value before they have already gotten to the results that are ideal. Just because you're not already this as skinny as everyone else would look at you and think you should be, doesn't mean you don't still have value, doesn't mean you can't still teach people things, doesn't mean you can't still develop recipes, because I'm on a journey to get better. And just because on the outside it looks like I still carry a bunch of extra weight, because I do, doesn't mean that I'm not doing the right things. And I think that unfortunately for any of you watching that, you've been around my channel for a while, you probably know if you're doing this and you're trying to take back your health, there are people out there that are going to look at you and judge what they see and try to hold it against you. It's just an ego thing. People just need to elevate themselves because they don't have enough going on in their life. They're not being successful enough at anything else. And so they need to look at why you're not as good as them. And so the first thing they do is look at you and go, oh, you're fat. Which I think is also funny. Sometimes we get those comments from people. I very rarely ever see that person's thumbnail picture on their YouTube. It's almost like maybe they're embarrassed to tell people that they think someone looks fat and then show a picture of what they look like. Yeah. So it's just a thing. Just something to think about. Yeah. Just something to think about. So stay kind, help each other, support each other, and understand that just because we're not already skinny by society's standards doesn't mean we haven't come a long way and that we're not doing great things.
I'll also say though, losing 130 pounds kind of gives you the right to, I'm just saying, I think you're a totally different person. Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm definitely a totally different person in
mentally,
many ways.
Physically, all of the above. Yeah. Yes. We were talking about recipes sometimes that maybe you try it and it doesn't turn out. Great example. James and Shelley. They had trouble with your pizza crust before, and you gave them some tips, and they said, tell Chris I made my second batch of pizza crust. This time it turned out amazing.
Yeah, there we go. Sometimes, guys, that's the thing. It's just a small tip or a small adjustment, a tweak, whatever it is, can make the recipe work or not work. And then sometimes you can do the exact same recipe and it will just randomly fail. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's your first time doing it that it fails. Doesn't mean you do anything wrong, even sometimes. I mean, maybe you did something wrong, maybe you didn't do something wrong. It can be very difficult to know when it's a brand new recipe you've never used before. And it just little tweaks like that. You know, I do this so much, I can think on my feet in the kitchen, like, you know, and if something's not working, I can usually diagnose probably why, because I've done it so much. But even for me, I still occasionally do something and I look in the oven and I'm like, well, that didn't come close to doing what I needed it to do. What the heck happened?
Right.
You know, it's just part of it. It's part of the game. It is a game to try to figure out how to make this work. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's awesome. I'm glad that it worked for you guys the second time around, and now you have that under your belts, and now you can make pizza.
Yeah, absolutely. The great benefit, we were talking earlier how it was 3 a.m. and they were
Yeah.
thinking about cooking along with us. They are from Dubai.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's a
Okay.
ways away.
I don't necessarily know if I've ever had a viewer tell me they're from Dubai. That's a
Yeah.
brand new one. Well, hello to you in Dubai. Thank you so much for watching and staying up and watching an old redneck make a grilled cheese sandwich.
I love it. So many people have some really great, just kind of little tidbits of advice that I think are awesome.
Yeah.
Basically, like it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
It's a health journey.
Yep.
A lot of people just appreciate your honesty and just seeing the changes in us, which is awesome. Let's see. Kay says, I agree with that. I've lost 80 pounds, but I'm only halfway to my goal. But people are actually saying I look so skinny now, even though I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Kim, I love this. For me, weight loss is a side effect of becoming healthy.
Yes, that's a great perspective.
It's really good. Susan, Lydia E. has a question.
Yeah.
Do you ever do what I eat in a day video?
So when I first started this channel, I did like 2 or 3 of them, like little short things, and I did not keep up with them because, well, no one was watching my channel at the time anyway, but I found them very boring when I was doing them. That being said, I think we have a lot more interesting things that we get to do now, and I've gotten a lot better at this. I think that would be a cool thing. There's a lot of stuff coming on Chris Cooking Nashville, and I haven't announced publicly what a lot of it is yet. And there's going to be a lot of changes coming. I think some what I eat in a day type vlogs and different things like that. I think that would actually be a really cool thing to add to the channel as time allows when these new directions for Chris Cooking Nashville all come. So I promise somewhere in June, July, something like that, I will be announcing everything that is changing because big things are changing and coming, and it's going to be great. And that is a really cool thing that I think would be fun to incorporate from time to time.
Yes. I will say too, I know I filmed it, so you probably forgot about it. It's not in a day, but we did put out a what I eat in a week.
Yep.
On a carnivore diet. It's just a reel.
Yep.
Like a short on your YouTube channel, but
It
we
is
did
on
put
there,
that
yeah.
out.
Yep.
So.
It's at least some good examples of the kind of things that we're eating on a daily basis. Because here's the deal, I don't make carnivore bread and keto club sandwiches every day.
Yeah.
Like this is a special thing that I'll do for a live stream. Or, you know, like my big Saturday recipes that I do will have that kind of stuff. Most of the other times it's like steak, beef patties, eggs, chicken, bacon. Like I very, very straightforward, simple stuff. And occasionally Ash will add in a veggie, although she's been mostly carnivore with me this last month and going on a month and a half now. So
Yeah. Mimi745 gave you a $2.99 super
oh,
thanks.
Mimi, thank you so much. Y'all have no idea how much that helps us when you guys do that. It's so sweet. We just
Very
appreciate
kind.
it.
Honey, before we let people go,
Yep.
Do you want to let them know what videos you got
Yeah.
coming out this week? And what we got
Yep,
going
so we got
on?
the health vlog coming out tomorrow. Ash kind of talking with me about sort of what we've done now that she made it through her month of carnivore and sort of what she's, you know, experimenting, testing a little bit here and there. She's still staying mostly carnivore, but little experiments here and there. So we're talking about that, and I think just some good information in that health vlog about oxalates and various other things that I think you guys will find very interesting. So that's cool. It's coming out tomorrow. On Saturday, I had a whole bunch of people that asked me if I had done anything like this, and I told a few people, watch my channel. Saturday, we are doing chicken lo mein, carnivore chicken lo mein, like lo mein style noodles, and I'm showing you guys how I do the velveted chicken in that as well. That is going to be a fantastic video, and that velvet technique that I use can be used for chicken, for beef, for pork. It's a real game changer when it comes to I need like a super tender meat to really enjoy. I'm going to show you guys how I do that, and it's fantastic.
So
It is
tasty.
fantastic. Ash ate the entire bowl of lo mein and was like, this is so good. It's like Chinese takeout. And we haven't had that in so long. We used to get Chinese takeout every now and then and like watch movies if we had a day where we had some time and we didn't feel like cooking long time ago. And this hits that spot. It hits that spot. So if you're interested in making the lo mein, you might want to go on my channel and go look at the video about making carnivore soy sauce, because I use that to season it. So if you want to make that ahead of time, you can have that ready to go in the fridge. And then on Saturday, we'll be making the lo mein. So you'll need chicken and eggs and egg white powder and gelatin and will be sour cream and more chicken, specifically chicken breast is what I was using. So a couple of chicken breasts will do. And the carnivore soy sauce and yeah, eggs. I think I said that already. That's basically the deal. So that's coming out on Saturday. And you never know if something random might pop in between here and there. So, but yeah, that's what we got coming up. And then we got a whole bunch of more recipes that are actually already filmed and I need to edit and put together that'll be coming the rest of this month.
Yeah.
So
lots of good recipes.
Yeah. Am I forgetting anything? Did I get everything?
No, babe, you got it. You did good.
I gotta ask the boss over there, make sure.
I just tried to make myself a note and remind you, and I'm just trying to keep the wheels on the bus rolling.
Yeah, well, there we go.
You did great.
There we go. Well, guys, I appreciate all of you watching. If you have any questions about the bread or anything else, you know how to get a hold of me. And if you don't know how to get a hold of me, it's right here on YouTube in the comment section or on my Facebook or my Instagram. You can send me a message anytime. Come find me, let me know if you have questions. All of my links are down below. The induction cooktop, the cast iron cookware, the spatula, there's several other different things, like all the tools that I used. I have all of those linked down below, so if you want to know what any of that is or you've seen me use it and you want to try it, it's all down there for you. You can click those links to go find it on Amazon. My Amazon shop is linked down there. The Keto Chow link, if you need yourself some salty because you're dealing with those allergies like I am, some salty packets, go to that Keto Chow link. Get yourself a discount from that discount code that is down there. The Sport Protein egg white powder is down there with my discount code. There's a whole bunch of stuff down there. You guys can get some discounts on things, and there's a lot more cool stuff coming. So go down there, find me at the links, find me on social media. Let me know here on YouTube if you need anything. And if you try this bread recipe, if it does fail for some reason or you don't care for it, come find me and let me know so I can help you diagnose it so we can get it right for you. And if you get it right and you still don't like it, that's okay. Everybody's tastes are different, but I would hate for you to not like it because something went wrong and you think that that's just the recipe instead of something that I could help you fix. So
here to serve.
Yep, here to serve.
Awesome.
So, awesome. Well, if you guys have anything you need, you let us know. Otherwise, we appreciate you all watching. And this is Chris Cooking Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor, is back there behind the camera. Everybody thank her down in the comments for all the work that she does. Guys, make sure to eat your meat, especially when it looks like carnivore bread. Love your life. And Ash and I are going to see you here in the kitchen for more live streams. The next recipe.
Bye.
Bye.